So, you've decided to buy a Billy to display your books, collectibles, or otherwise, and you think it looks nice, but it's missing something. Something that really makes any collection shine. Lighting. I have great news. Lighting up a Billy bookshelf is not only easy, but it can also be done using only products from IKEA. That way you can go to IKEA and buy all the products necessary to assemble the bookshelf. Some of you may have seen my previous video making the first Billy lit using the Oversidan lighting system, but I have since improved the process of constructing one of these display cases by starting from the beginning. I've also included a written instruction guide that can be accessed by a link in the description of this video. We'll start by unboxing the Billy bookcase. Set the shelves in a place where you plan to work on them, since we will be modifying the shelves before constructing the bookcase. There will be 4 removable shelves and 3 permanent shelves. 2 of the permanent shelves and all of the removable shelves will be modified to attach the Oversidan light strips. The remaining permanent shelf will be placed on the bottom of the Billy and will not be modified since there is no shelf below it. One of these permanent shelves will have the light strip on the same side as the holes, and one will have the light strip on the opposite side. This is very important as these shelves cannot be removed once the Billy has been completed. Before we can begin construction, we must receive approval from the foreman. She is really inspecting the products we have to make sure that they are high quality, really high quality. Next, she checks the surroundings to make sure they are appropriately cleared to ensure safety during construction. Having received her approval, we can begin. It is now time to unbox the Oversidan light strips. They come in various lengths and colors. For my bookshelf, I will be using the 28-inch Oversidan light strips finished in white. When I built my first Billy, I did not realize the light strips came in white, which would have matched the bookshelf much better than the beige color, as you'll see later in the video. Remove the light strip from the packaging. There is a toggleable switch on one side with an on option and an auto option. If you would like your shelf to turn on using the controller, flip all of them to the on option. Otherwise, auto will cause them to turn on when they detect motion. I've never tried this, but feel free to leave a comment if this is the setting you chose. Page 10 of the instructions will show us all of the components we need from the box of included pieces. Make sure you have all of the correct components before setting the others aside. You will not need the remaining pieces for this mounting method. Before we can begin the modification process, here are all of the tools needed to mount these light strips. A ruler can be used in place of a measuring tape, since the first inch or so is all that is needed to prepare the screw holes in the shelves. The pencil is used with the cardboard mounting guide to mark the screw holes. The power drill will be used to drill pilot holes for the screws, as well as the holes in the back of the Billy through which the cables will be run. The small drill bit is used to drill pilot holes, and the 3/8-inch drill bit is used to drill the holes in the back of the Billy. I bought this drill bit specifically for this project thanks to a certain commenter on my last video, and thanks to them I would recommend buying one with this spike on the end. This will make it easier to line up with the pilot hole when drilling the holes for the cables. Of course, all of this should be done with proper protective equipment, including safety glasses. For anyone curious, these Pit Vipers are Z87 Plus rated. Finally, we can begin modifying the shelves. Bend the mounting guide to 90 degrees at the crease. Measure 1 inch from the edge of the shelf to the edge of the mounting guide. The hole to mark will be around 1.5 inches from the edge, but this 1.5 inch measurement is just to help align the mounting guide properly. It is by no means the actual placement of the hole. Use the hole in the mounting guide to mark where the pilot hole will be drilled. Place the small drill bit in the power drill, ensuring not to accidentally drill through the shelf. You can mark the depth of the bit by using a piece of tape as a flag at the depth you'd like, or you can insert the bit as far as you can to make sure it is short enough to not drill through the shelf. Make sure you are wearing protective equipment before drilling. After drilling the pilot hole, I recommend screwing in the screw for the mounting bracket to make sure it will go in, although this step is not necessary. Finally, grab the mounting bracket and screw it in. If the colored front of the shelf is facing you, on the left side you will screw in the bracket marked B. Do not screw it in until it is too tight, since part of the light strip must slide between the surface of the shelf and the mounting bracket. At this point, grab the light strip and insert the peg into the mounting bracket, either by clipping it in from the front or by sliding it in to the side. This is to ensure you still have an equal amount of room on either side of the light strip. These strips are not the same width as the shelves, so there should be about an inch of space between the edge of the light strip and the edge of the shelf. Now you can repeat the process on the other side. Here is the process uninterrupted. After screwing in both mounting brackets, insert the light strip into the bracket labeled A and swivel it until it clips into the bracket labeled B. This is the final check to make sure that the brackets are appropriately spaced to hold the light bar. If you are unsatisfied with the spacing of either bracket, remove the light bar and unscrew the mounting bracket. Reattach the light bar to the screwed-in bracket and place the unscrewed bracket on the other side. Use a pencil to mark where the mounting hole should be, understanding that the angle of the pencil may cause your mark to not be centered with the hole. Re-drill the hole and check to make sure the mounting is satisfactory. Do not worry if you have to do this. I have had to do this once or twice to ensure that the lighting looks as good as possible. If you would like to, you can plug the cable into the light strips and reinsert them into the mounting brackets. You can use the included cable guides to position the cables to best fit your needs. I have chosen to run them straight to the back of the shelf. Peel off one of the adhesive pads and place it on the tab on the cable guide. Clip the cable guide onto the cable and remove the adhesive paper from the pad. Press the cable guide onto the shelf where you would like it to go. Repeat this process for as many guides as you need. Alternatively, you can forego this process and return to it later. I never placed these on my first bookshelf, but I am choosing to do so for this one. The Billy can now be constructed according to the included instructions. Make sure to note the orientation of the permanent shelves. The one with the light strip on the same side as the holes will be the middle shelf, and the one with the holes on the opposite side will be the topmost piece. Once this has been completed, you can insert the shelves. Make sure to measure the distance between each shelf to ensure it is the correct distance before marking or drilling. This is very important since any unnecessary holes will need to be patched or covered up. Pull the cable to the back of the shelf where you would like to run it through the back of the Billy. Use a pencil to mark where the hole will be drilled. All pilot holes can be drilled with the drill bit used earlier. Alternatively, one of the nails from the Billy can be used to create pilot holes in the back as well as in the shelves. This is what I did in my previous construction. It is trickier, but it is possible. Trust me, I did it for every pilot hole on the last Billy. The easiest thing that you can then use the 3/8 inch drill bit to drill the holes for the cables. Finally, run the cables all the way through the back of the Billy and plug them into the Tradfri power hub. Pair the hub with the Tradfri remote using the included instructions and bask in the illumination of your hard work. While you are gawking at the incredible display you have just finished, here are some things to consider. The 30-watt hub can power up to 10 light strips. These Billies have 6 shelves, so each individual Billy requires its own Tradfri power hub. However, if you plan to buy more than 2, consider using the extra slots on the hubs you already have. 3 hubs can be used to power 5 Billies if arranged appropriately. This will require splitting the individual light strips between the hubs, but it will save you from having to buy a hub for every single Billy. Another thing to note is that the Tradfri remote, like the one you see in this video, can connect to as many as 10 hubs. That means, theoretically, you could control 16 fully lit Billy bookcases with one Tradfri remote. That being said, making sure all of the hubs have a proper connection to the Tradfri remote is important. There's a chance that any of the hubs could miss an input from the remote and cause the lights to be out of sync with the rest. I have already experienced this twice with only 2 hubs, so be careful where you use the remote, taking into consideration the placement of the hubs it needs to communicate with. Woof, that was a long video, but I wanted to remake this project with a much more guided approach. Okay, so what's the damage at the end of the day? Well, as of the making of this video, the electronics are far more expensive than the base price of the Billy. When fully constructed, each Billy will cost around $260 without the Tradfri remote. Price will also vary depending on the colors you choose. I understand that not everyone may be able to commit to the full price of a fully lit Billy, but trust me when I say you want to start this before you build the Billy. If you add the lights after you have already fully constructed the Billy, it will be much trickier. Reference my first video if you would like to see what happens when you add lights to a Billy that's already been fully constructed. I hope this guide helped you to construct and light your very own IKEA Billy bookcase. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I will try my best to assist you. You may also find questions or answers from other viewers. And as always, I'm Leo, reminding you that expensive collections don't belong on cheap shelves. See you next time.